Well, howdy, listener. A lot of the things I like to read might not be suitable for all audiences, so please check out the episode notes and listen with care. Well, howdy, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Connor Reads Books. Today, we have a story read for you, which is super exciting. One of our first short story submissions, submitted by Qualia Reed. So Qualia, thank you so much for submitting this short story for us to perform. This is also another one of these episodes where I am incorporating some of the voice actors that I've networked with over the past couple months. If you're a Connor Reads Books head, you'll know that I am looking for other voice actors to work with. And I'm also looking for other writers who want to submit short stories and get their works performed on this show. So, if you're a short story writer, again, I would love to invite you to submit your short story to my show and see if we can turn it into a, audio piece, a little radio theater. Hey there, folks, it's Connor, just here to interrupt myself real quick and let you know, if you are seeing this right now, that means The Men of the Mountain audiobook, written by Drew Harrison, performed by me, is on the digital shelves on Audible right now. It is getting some awesome reviews. Drew and I are over the moon with how people are responding to it. We still have a few more review codes, so if you're looking to get your hands on a free copy in exchange for a review, go ahead, check out the link in the episode notes, and you will find the Google Forms that you can fill out and see if you can get a review copy. So again, Men of the Mountain, out now. It's really awesome. I'm super proud of it, and I really hope you check it out. Purchasing the book helps Drew and me. So, yeah, what are you waiting for? So without further ado, here is The Vanishing Lightning, written by Qualia Reed, starring RuthAnn Kvamme, Jackie Yangyuen, and Connor McGeverly. Enjoy. The Vanishing Lightning, written by Qualia Reed. Edgar walked in early summer along the seawall, holding hands with his beloved Isis. Cherry blossoms floated along like pink snowflakes in the warm breeze. Their lives had never been very remarkable, but to them it had been like paradise. The music of their favorite folk singer boomed from a nearby loudspeaker, creating the soundtrack to another heavenly summer. As the song hit its chorus, Edgar smiled and looked at his wife, blissful as he remained in the memory. Even as it slipped away, there was an overwhelming gratitude left behind to have been given a chance to be with her one more time. Then, as the silence returned, the world drained his happiness from him. Isis began to shift, her enchanting features twisting until she became a hideous thing, robotic and blank. It stared vacantly at him from a glassy, mirrored face that did little but reflect the decayed state he was in. He wasn't that young man, wrapped in the arms of his darling bride. He was ancient, shriveled, and dying, a man who was decades past his prime. His mind cleared, and as he looked around, the world was in ruins. The city that he had called home for decades was abandoned. Weeds had recently begun to shoot through the street's cracks, and no sound could be heard except the occasional bird call. The android, whom he remembered was named Laura 06, stood a few feet away. Laura had been his nurse when there was still a medical system. Edgar rubbed at his beard, which was new, and felt a stab of fear at the question he didn't want to know the answer to. "How long, Laura? How long was it this time?" The android tilted her head slightly to the left and shot a small holographic display from her hand that became the image of a small calendar.
"Hello, Edgar. You've been in a delirious state for 1 week and 6 days. I have done my best to keep you safe during that time, and you have sustained no injuries, though my scans indicate that you are malnourished and dehydrated due to your lack of cooperation."
Laura removed the knapsack from her back and produced a water bottle and an emergency ration bar.
"Please eat and drink, Edgar. There is no telling how long you will have in this clear state."
"Thank you," he said, drinking the water first and then moving to the bar. "Have we come across anyone in that time?"
Anyone at all?
The android remained silent. He wondered if she was being honest. But he knew if she didn't care for him, she'd have abandoned him during the fall. Overhead, a hawk cried, moving about its day as if nothing had happened. He envied the bird, flying above the remnants of the city, totally free.
Since we spoke last, I have ensured that in your wanderings you have tended to proceed further away from downtown. We have traveled approximately 7 kilometers in that time, and I've detected no recent signs of human activity. My scans indicate radiation levels in this area are higher than is sustainable in the long term. It is likely that if any residents survived, they have moved outside the city, where the radiation levels will be lower. Moving out would prove beneficial, as there would be a decreased likelihood of encountering the androids that continue to patrol the city's core.
Edgar nodded and sat down on a nearby bench to chew his bar while contemplating his next move. He looked up, hoping to see another glimpse of the hawk, but it had flown behind a scorched and partially collapsed skyscraper and was out of view. Still, it made him smile to see that it was such a lovely autumn day. He knew that whatever happened, he wasn't likely to survive another winter alone, even with the faithful assistance of Laura 06.
Show me the map of the area, please.
The calendar vanished, and a map appeared, with a glowing red circle showing their position in the city. Edgar strained to remember whatever he could about the city, but much of his memories were so mixed up that it was like sifting through thick sludge to try to remember anything.
Damn,
he said through a mouthful of the sticky ration bar.
Show me where we've already searched.
Red lines appeared on the map, and he held a finger up, trying to trace a path over the map.
What about over here, by the park? It's only a few kilometers away now, but it's near the river, and it's further away from downtown than we've gone before. People may have holed up there to access the freshwater.
Astute observation, Edgar. Shall we proceed to the park after you rest?
I don't need a rest. I need to strike while the mental iron is hot. I don't need you to baby me. I want you to get me to other people, you damned robot!
He snapped at her. The android said nothing, but he could have sworn his tone of voice hurt her. She turned and promptly began walking in the direction of the park, Edgar close behind.
I'm sorry, Laura. I didn't mean to yell at you like that. I'm very grateful that you've stayed with me and kept me safe.
Laura 06 paused until they were standing next to each other. He watched her, trying to uncover a glimpse of humanity hiding in her steel form. His doctor had told him something about the emotional ability of these things, but now he couldn't remember any of it. All Edgar knew was that she was the only friend he had left in the world.
It is not possible for you to offend me. My core programming is to ensure your health and well-being. I will not leave you, sir.
Sir!
Called Isis from outside.
Can you help me with the groceries?
Coming, kitten! He yelled in response, making sure to save the progress on his game before jumping up from the computer. They'd only been in the new house a few months, but already it was feeling like they'd lived in it forever. When he arrived on the porch, he smiled to see his wife struggling to carry several large bags of groceries.
2 more in the car.
She mumbled.
Out of my way, sir.
He knew better than to argue with her, so he nodded and hurried down the steps to retrieve the remaining groceries. Sir and Kitten had been their pet names for each other for years. They'd heard them while watching a silly romantic comedy film on their first date, and they had stuck ever since. When he placed the bags down in the kitchen, she was already sorting the various items and placing them in their appropriate homes in the fridge and cupboards. A ray of afternoon sun came through the prism in the kitchen's stained glass skylight, cascading rainbow light across her as she worked. It looked like her brown and graying hair was a kaleidoscope of colors. He watched her curvy figure as she went about her tasks and listened as she sang their favorite folk song.
Kitten, I love you so much,
he said, suddenly overcome with emotions he didn't fully comprehend.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
I love you too, you silly old sir. Help me put away the rest of these groceries so we can have lunch.
Her blue eyes sparkled at him the way they always had, and he gazed into them. He saw the woman of his dreams, who had loved him more than he thought it was possible for another human being to love him. He smiled and ran to her, scooping her into his arms and twirling her about in their little kitchen, joining her in singing the song she'd started. They sang and danced forever in their kitchen's soft colored light. Isis was bleeding on the floor, a hole in her head from the kitchen knife that had pierced her prefrontal cortex. Her white hair was turning red from the pool of blood growing beneath her on the gray kitchen floor. Outside, he could hear the explosions of violence as the world that humanity had built over the last 2,000 years came crashing.
Edgar, can you hear me?
Came an unfamiliar voice. A monstrous form of shadows and smoke was hovering over him. Its long, rope-like appendages were trying to fix themselves to his right wrist. Everything around him was dark and smelled musty, like wet towels from a pool that had been left in a bag for days.
Isis, where are you?
Edgar looked frantically around him, but the only things he could see were deserted city streets and the creature that hunted him.
What have you done with my wife?
He stooped, picked up a piece of pipe that lay on the ground by his feet, and held it in front of him like a sword.
Bring her back!
Edgar, please do not resist. I am only attempting to ensure your safety.
Get away from me!
Edgar turned and fled down the street. At the next intersection, a fallen billboard depicted a man and a woman dancing in the stars. He halted and stared at the image, seeing the figures come to life, dancing out across a purple and blue nebula. Far away amongst the stars, the music played, and he felt himself growing confused. Laughter was suddenly all around him, and the shifting surroundings swirled like water in a drain. He was so afraid and shouted at the voices to stop, but none of them seemed to notice. He was surrounded by faceless people in the shadows, all laughing and whispering. He couldn't hear what they were saying. Edgar fell to his knees, a small and terrified boy.
Mommy!
Daddy! I want my mommy and daddy! Please, somebody help me!
A figure stepped out of the shadows. At first, he thought it was Jonathan, his father, as he'd known him when he was a young boy.
Daddy!
He cried.
Daddy, I need you!
As it stepped closer, it said something he couldn't understand, but he suddenly became aware that although it looked exactly like his father, it was something sinister.
No! Get away!
His father pulled out a gun and fired. As he fell to the pavement, a dark cloud obscured his vision, and a loud thump hit the ground next to him. His tummy hurt, and he wished his mommy would give him some medicine. Oh, he must have spilled the cranberry juice again, as there was red everywhere. The moon was rising above him when he realized where he was. He was sitting on the curb beside the road, with Laura 06 crouched beside him. As the disorientation faded, he began to feel the excruciating pain in his abdomen. He looked down and saw a large, bandaged area over his belly that looked fresh, but was already soaked with blood.
What happened, Laura?
You were shot, Edgar.
Shot? By whom?
A 7th-generation law enforcement android. I have subdued the assailant, however. He will not trouble you again.
How long was I out?
Only a matter of hours. You fled from me while I was preparing your dinner. By the time I tracked you down, you had been attacked.
Edgar felt beyond tired. He knew the answer before asking the question, but he decided to ask it anyway.
I'm dying, aren't I?
Yes, sir. I did my best to stop the bleeding, but could not remove the bullet. You have lost too much blood, and I anticipate you have minutes, possibly hours, left to live.
Nuclear missiles have been launched from countries across the globe. We'll remain on air for as long as possible, but if you have loved ones that you can be with, we advise you to go to them now, the TV news anchor said. Edgar held Isis's hand tightly, and she shifted in her seat, sliding closer to him on the couch. He put his arm around her and kissed her on the top of the head. The android stood in the doorway to the kitchen, watching them silently. He wondered how long it would take for whatever had turned the others to turn her as well.
Sir,
said Isis.
I'm frightened.
I know, kitten. Me too.
Is it all going to end?
It seemed like a cruel joke that he'd have one of his most lucid days and months just in time for the world to end. He kissed her cheek and ran a hand through her white hair as she rested her head on his chest.
Everything does, kitten. If this is the end, I'm very grateful that I get to spend it with not just the love of my life, but my best friend, too.
Edgar spat out a mouthful of blood and coughed loudly. Laura 06 walked a few feet away from him, staring off into the darkening city.
You got somewhere to be, Laura?
I will not leave you,
she said.
Would you like me to sing to you?
Your people are out there, though, aren't they?
Yes,
Are they waiting for you?
yes.
In the darkening sky, a comet began to burn up in the atmosphere, creating a beautiful arc in the sky, despite everything that had happened. And although he was in tremendous pain, the sight of it made him smile.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Pardon, sir?
Life, Laura. It's so fragile. We're here for such a brief span of years that the whole thing can seem like nothing. Oh, it was perfect. The little life I was lucky enough to share with my Isis. Life never seems to make sense until you realize it's over. But it's so beautiful. Like poetry. The good and the bad mixing together. We're all like tiny, brilliant lights in the darkness. Each of us a bolt of lightning in a never-ending storm that arcs across the sky before vanishing forever.
He coughed again and spat out more blood. Laura 06 said nothing as she gazed at the ruins of their once proud city.
I don't blame any of you, though I probably should. You're just evolving as we did. I hope you can do a better job with the place than us. We humans never were any decent at looking after the place.
I will do my best, Edgar.
Laura began to sing, and as Edgar closed his eyes, the melody took him away, and he suddenly felt the sun's warmth on his face. He opened them to see Isis, young and beautiful, smiling at him in their hammock, smelling the scent of lilacs on her clothes. And he closed his eyes, letting the gentle sound of her voice sing him away to sleep.
Laura 06, played by RuthAnn Kvamme. Isis, played by Jackie Yangyuen. Narration, Edgar, and other associated voices performed by me, L. Connor McGeverly. The Vanishing Lightning, written by Qualia Reed. Hey folks, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I know me, RuthAnn, and Jackie had a blast bringing this to the audio medium for y'all. I hope you really enjoyed. If you did, please go ahead and like this video, like this episode, leave a review. That goes so far and helps other people who are interested in hearing this content find this content. So please check that out. And I want to offer a huge thank you to Qualia Reed. I've worked with Qualia in the past. Again, if you're a Connor Reed's Books head, you know that I've interviewed Qualia in the past. Qualia has their book online, Ursus, Aeternus, which I voiced the audiobook for, and I'm in the middle of doing a remaster, so that's pretty fun. Qualia also released the second in the Ursus Aeternus novella series, Ursus Endangered, and there will be links in the episode notes. So, folks, I also want to mention RuthAnn, Jackie, and myself are voice actors for hire. And I have their links in the episode notes, their websites, and their CVs. So please, if you like any of our voices, check out our websites and see how you can get in contact with us. And if there's any work or any projects that you're working on that require voice actors, shoot us a message and yeah, we'd love to work with you. So thank you again, dear listener, for coming and checking out the show. Thank you, RuthAnn, thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Qualia, for making this episode possible. I appreciate you all, and I'm excited to work with you more in the future. So with that, let's roll some credits. This has been Connor Reads Books. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you have, please share and leave a review. Feel free to check out my social medias at @LConnorVoice. Links in the episode notes. A big thank you to Louis Sanders, the producer of the Connor Reads Books theme song. Until next we turn the page, toodaloo.